Hello lovelies, and welcome back to today's video, in which I am coming back to do part 2 of that pre-birthday haul, and this is all about books, so let's get started. The first 3 books I admittedly picked up like 3-4 months ago maybe, at TK Maxx, and they were on really good offer. TK Maxx have some great deals in there, so I decided to pick them up. I have one of these already, the green one, and they are the David Day books about Tolkien and Middle Earth. So we have the Ring Legends of Tolkien, we have the Battles of Tolkien, and we have the Dictionary of Tolkien, and these are stunning. I aim to read these when I eventually consume all the fantasy stories that Tolkien has written and released, so that I don't get any like possible spoilers. I just want to show you some of the artwork. It's gorgeous. So these are like back burner books. They're going to be just kept to the side, looking pretty until the day that I'm ready to pick them up, but they are absolutely gorgeous. The next couple of books I picked up around a similar time, I think, and these were through Asda. So I found that my local Asda doesn't have a lot of books often. Every now and then they get some of the new releases kind of pop up, so this was one of those times. I've got Reckless by Lauren Roberts, which is the, I guess technically the sequel to Powerless, although there is that little novella in between called Powerful. I have yet to read any of those books, so I think it might be fun to kind of do a back-to-back reading of those, maybe vlog it and kind of see how I enjoy it. But it is a fantasy, romantasy kind of setting. I cannot remember exactly the premise of the first book, and yeah, I don't want to spoil myself by reading the back of this one, but there we are. And I also picked up Ava Reed's Study in Drowning, which is a gorgeous cover. This one I actually don't know anything about, to be honest. It's just something that I recognised doing the works on BookTok, Bookstagram, BookTube, and just kind of being familiar with the cover and people enjoying it. So let's find out what it's about. So this one actually sounds like a whole lot of fun. It's giving dark academia vibes, romance, fantasy, fairy tales. So we're following Effie, who has kind of grown up with fairy tales all her life, and particularly finds a love and comfort in this particular tale revolving the Fairy King, especially so as she has been like plagued with visions of him throughout her entire life practically. Anyway, it's kind of like comfort her support in terms of, you know, what she takes with her to her architecture college. She relies on that when she's going through some difficult times, and when she gets the opportunity from the late authors of the book family to kind of design the home, she completely jumps at the chance. However, there is someone also there that is kind of trying to combat against that, who's trying to oust the author as a fraud. So we've got a little bit of rivalry between students, some enemies to lovers I'm imagining, and as well some magical fantasy elements too, which sounds fantastic. Next I have got The Last Resort by Susie Holiday. So the tag on this one is 7 strangers, 7 secrets, 1 perfect crime. When Amelia is invited to an all expenses paid retreat on a private island, the mysterious offer is too good to refuse. Along with 6 other strangers, she's told they're here to test a brand new product for Temio Technologies. But the guests' excitement soon turns to terror when the real reason for their summons become clear. Each guest has a guilty secret, and when they're all forced to wear a memory tracking device that reveals their dark and shameful deeds to their fellow guests, there's no hiding from the past. This is no luxury retreat, it's a trap they can't get out of. As the clock counts down to the lavish end of day party they've been promised, injuries and infights split the group. But with no escape from the island or the other guests' most shocking secrets, Amelia begins to suspect that her only hope for survival is to be the last one standing. Can she confront her own dark past to uncover the truth before it's too late to get out? I am really looking forward to diving into some more darker thriller crime kind of vibes during the colder months. I don't know, something just screams crime during autumn and winter, and I'm looking forward to a good book making my heart race in the best way. I feel like that could be a contender. I've also got L.S. Hilton's Ultima. I'm pretty sure I have the first book, which is Maestra. If not, I can listen to it on audiobook or something. Yeah, so this is the final book, sorry. So we've got Maestra, Domina and Ultima, and it's something I don't want to spoil myself on, so I do apologize. I definitely remember wanting to read Maestra years and years ago, when it first came out, but I just cannot remember off the top of my head what it's about. But hopefully having the last book will push me. We shall see if it's got a bit of reverse psychology. Things in Jars by Jess Kidd. So this seems to be more of like a historical fiction vibe within the crime genre. So it's set during London 1863, and we're following Bridie Devine, who has a strange puzzle that has reached her. She's the finest female detective of her age, and she is tasked to recover a stolen child. But to do so, she must enter the dark world of medical curiosities, which sounds really intriguing to me. The public love a spectacle, and this child may well prove the most remarkable spectacle London has ever seen. Things in Jars is another one like any other, one that explores what it is to be human in inhuman times. So I'm wondering if this is going to be giving me kind of like, you know, like quote unquote circus freak vibe, where people with shocking for the time disabilities are seen as freakish and others and are put on a pedestal, not in a good way, to just be like ridiculed and stared at. It sounds like it's set in that sort of time, so I think it could have some interesting conversations there, but I do worry that it sticks a bit too closely to the time period, and there's going to be some challenging conversations and viewpoints there. But we shall see how our main character kind of tackles that and challenges that too. All right, I have Anotesha Moshfegh. Oh, I know I've butchered that. I've really tried getting my mouth around that name. That sounded really weird. But this is Death is in Her Hands. This one follows a protagonist who doesn't seem to be named. I don't know if we ever have a name for her. On her daily walk in the woods with her dog, comes across a note that's handwritten and carefully pinned to the ground with stones. And the note says, "Her name was Magda. Nobody will ever know who killed her. It wasn't me. Here is her dead body." Shaky even on her best day, she's also recently widowed, new to this area, alone, and now deeply alarmed. The note grows quickly into a full-blown obsession. As her theories about Magda, who she was, what happened to her, and where her body has disappeared to, multiply, the lines between nightmare, fantasy, and reality start to fog. Can there be an innocent explanation for all of this, or a much more sinister one? One that strikes closer to home. It sounds fantastic, and I haven't read a book by this author before, but I know that they did the My Year of Rest and Relaxation, and I'm pretty sure that's been turned, or it's being turned into a movie. I don't know if it's something I would pick up to read, but I feel like I'd probably give the movie a go. So I don't know, depending on how this reading goes, because to be quite honest, it's probably going to be the first book I pick up from this author. Then I might go and check out the book for My Year of Rest and Relaxation. I think Eileen was a book that I was somewhat interested in as well. Don't know, it rings a bell. Then I have David Belton's When the Hills Ask for Your Blood, and this is a personal story of wonder and genocide. So it is non-fiction and sort of autobiographical in nature. I thought it could be quite an interesting piece of historical autobiography to read about, especially about a conflict that I don't know an awful lot about. So it says, into the heart of a genocide that left 1 million people dead. 6th of April 1994, in the skies above Rwanda, the president's plane is shot down in flames. In the chapel of a hillside village, missionary priest Vejeko Kurik prepares to save thousands. Nekajali Jean-Pierre holds his family close, fearing for their lives. The mass slaughter that follows friends against friends, neighbours against neighbours, is one of the bloodiest chapters in history. 20 years on, BBC Newsnight producer David Belton, one of the first journalists into Rwanda, tells of the horrors he experienced at first hand. Following the threads of Jean-Pierre and Vejeko Kurik's stories, he visits a country still marked with blood in search of those who survived and the legacies of those who did not. This is David Belton's personal quest for the limits of bravery and forgiveness. So I wonder if it's going to be read as if it's like presented on the news. That might be an interesting way of reading. So yeah, looking forward to learning with this one. So the next lot of books are ones that I got very recently actually. The top 3 I believe are books that I got through my leaving gift voucher that I ended up converting into WH Smith coupons, and I spent that the other day, so here we go. One was a completely cover by it, and then I read the back and it sounded awesome and it feels really lovely. This is Hayo the Hellmaker by Mino Ikemoto Ghosh, and look how stunning that is. It is beautiful. Just the artistry of this cover alone absolutely sent me. And it says, bad luck is her curse, vengeance is her business, the bodies come to her. Hayo is a hellmaker, a creator of artisan hells and unlucky days to inflict upon your worst enemies. When a demon destroys her village, she and her brother flee to Onogoro, an island where the gods of Hayo's land live among humans. The hellmaker's hereditary curse, however, won't allow Hayo to settle in quickly. Hayo is curse-bound to investigate the deaths that come her way and find commissioners to avenge them. As she was pulled deeper into a tangled web of ends and secrets, Hayo must navigate the intricate rules of Onogoro's gods without becoming their pawn. She'll quickly realise that murderers and gods have one thing in common. They always think they can get away with it. At least that was before Hayo arrived. It is so cool. It sounds like it's going to be really epic in proportions, and I think I'm going to really love it. I also picked up Meddling Kids, which I believe I remember seeing Katie Ellen's Bookish Adventure talk about and absolutely adoring. This is by Edgar Cantero, and it's kind of like an ode to the kind of 90s whodunit Scooby-Doo kind of vibes, but I think it is a bit darker in tone if I remember correctly. And yeah, a little bit more serious in nature. So it has a really cool cover as well. It's one that I actually the book is one that I actually forgot about until I saw it, and I was like, I have been wanting to read this. So yes, it's a nostalgic celebration of horror, friendship, and many tentacled interdimensional demon spawn. In 1977, the Blyton Summer Detective Club unmasked the elusive Sleepy Lake Monster, another low-life fortune hunter. He would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for those meddling kids. By 1990, the former detectives are haunted by strange, half-remembered events that cannot be explained by a guy in a mask. Andy, the once intrepid tomboy, now wanted in 2 states, wants answers. To find them, she will need Kerry, the former kid genius now drinking her ghost away in New York with Tim, an excitable Weimaraner descended from the original K9 member of the club. They will also have to get Nate, the horror nerd currently residing in an asylum. Luckily, Nate has not lost contact with Peter, the handsome jock-turned-movie star who was once their leader, which is remarkable considering Peter has been dead for years. The time has come to get the team back together and find out what actually happened all those years ago. It's their only chance to end the nightmares and perhaps save the world. And what I love about the sound of this is that we're not following the event as it happened. I mean, it might have like a dual perspective going back and forth to then and now, but it sounds like the main focus is them as adults, or older at least, kind of not really dealing with their problems and the trauma of all the, I guess, the press and excitement and the discovery of all this messed up stuff that happened as kids or teens. That's intriguing to me, like the aftermath of that, and also going back and actually properly going through what really happened. That sounds so cool, like such an interesting spin on it for me. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to diving into this. It sounds like another kind of read that I would love during the cooler months. An exciting random purchase was The Crow by James O'Barr. With the release of the new movie, I didn't know, I think I did know in the back of my head that it was based off of a graphic novel, but it wasn't like at the forefront of my mind. So I was super excited when I saw this because I love the 2 actors they've got in it. Kaya Twigs, I really love her music. I'm going to give the original source a go. We are following Eric, who returns from the dead to avenge his and his fiance's murder. and this was done at the hands of a street gang. This particular edition is a re-release and it has expanded content in here, which is actually the version the author initially intended to be released. So it says it's complete at last with 30 pages of never before seen artwork, including a new closing segment called Sparkle Horse and the touching new scene and August Noel, a new introduction by James O'Barr, and lost sequences restored using the artist's original technique. That's so cool. I'm really looking forward to diving into this and kind of getting, I don't know, a better understanding for the story, because I do intend to go and see the movie when it drops. Okay, and then a little visit to my friend. We went into some charity shops and I picked up about 5 books from there, and that will wrap up this video. So I saw this, I couldn't leave without it. This is Witch Stories for Bedtime, illustrated by Jane Launchbury, and it just appealed to my little spooky kid heart. I thought it was absolutely darling. It's just a collection of short stories that feature witches, very kind of retro, I guess, in style. It looks like something I would have had growing up, something my mum would have had growing up actually, like the art style and even the font and text used. It just feels very nostalgic. I have The Whale by Sean Myung Kwan. This one was shortlisted for the International Booker Prize in 2023. This is also translated by Chi Yong Kim, and I feel like I am familiar with this, but I don't know it to the extent that I would like to, so let's find out together. It says, "Wow" is a sweeping multi-generational tale that blends fable, farce and fantasy, which sounds straight up my street. I love multi-generational stories, especially if it's following like the matriarchal kind of line of the family. The mixture of fable and fantasy, that is intriguing to me. So this is set in a remote village in South Korea, and our author has crafted the novel following the lives of 3 linked characters. We follow Gumbok, an extremely ambitious woman who has never recovered from the indescribable thrill she experienced when she first saw a wild crest in the ocean, her mute daughter Shonghui, who communicates with elephants, and a one-eyed woman who controls honeybees with a whistle. This is really cool. It's got some sort of like dark humor, this fairy tale kind of fable-esque vibe, and it just sounds like a really intriguing novel, so I'm looking forward to giving it a go. These books were either £1, except for the witch book, which was 50p. So this is What You Are Looking For is in the Library by Michako Ioma, and it is darling. It looks so cute. Cat on the cover, and my little cat is right here. She's so cute. I just love the back. It's so simple. This is how it looks, and it just says library. What a nice sounding word, so comforting. I feel like I'm a student again. Library. Am I allowed to borrow books? And then inside, for some extra detail, it says, "What are you looking for?" So asked Tokyo's most enigmatic librarian. For Suri Komachi is able to sense exactly what each visitor to her library is searching for and provide just the book recommendation to help them find it. A restless retail assistant looks to gain new skills. A mother tries to overcome demotion at work after maternity leave. A conscientious accountant yearns to open an antique store. A recently retired salaryman searches for newfound purpose. In Komachi's unique book recommendation, they all find just what they need to achieve their dreams. This book is about the magic of libraries and the discovery of connection. The inspirational tale shows how by listening to our hearts, seizing opportunities and reaching out, we too can fulfill our lifelong dreams. Which book will you recommend? This sounds perfect because I work in a library, so I feel like this will be even more beautiful to read. Okay, we're on to the last 2 books now. I have another one of these Greek retellings, and this is Psyche and Eros. This is by Luna McNamara. I really need to go through and properly like do a marathon reading all these Greek retellings because I love mythology, especially Greek mythology, and I just need to sit down, dedicate some time to reading some of these retellings and reimaginings. So this one of course follows the story of Psyche and Eros, and if I remember correctly, it's the tale of their love story, and basically Eros just asks Psyche to or Psyche, I'm not too sure how to pronounce her name, to promise not to look at him when they kind of get together, and everything will be okay, but she kind of doesn't do that. Someone fills her head with, I think it's her sisters that fill her head with doubts and worries. So she looks at him whilst he's sleeping, discovers who it is, and then she gets like the worst string of luck, especially from Aphrodite, who is Eros's mother. This sounds like it's going to be a really interesting retelling. It says, thrown together by fate, headstrong Psyche and world-weary Eros will face challenges greater than they could ever have imagined. And as the Trojan War begins and the whole of the heavens try to keep them apart, will they find their way back to each other before it's too late? So I'm really intrigued with how this is going to end, if it's going to stay true to the mythos or if it's going to expand and adapt on that. Lastly, I got this really cute book called Making Doll's House Miniatures with polymer clay. I like anything miniature. It's super adorable, like collecting things like that, so I thought this would be super cute for making my own little bits and bobs. Don't know if I'd ever utilize it anytime soon, but I do have quite a few Doll's House pieces that I want to kind of not upcycle because they're like brand new. I haven't used them yet, but to fit the theme of what I have in mind for my Doll's House, I want to like edit them, and by that I mean like paint on them and create the texture and the color that I'm after. So this might give me some ideas for that. So that is it for today's video. Thank you ever so much for watching. I shall catch you in another one soon. Bye.
No one's safe from the Reaper.